Zombie shooters aren't exactly rare these days. If you throw a rock in the gaming world, there's a decent chance it'll land on a horde shooter where you're mowing down the undead with friends. So when John Carpenter's toxic Commando shows up, the big question is simple. Does it actually bring something fresh to the genre, or is it just another shoot zombies until the ammo runs out situation? First things first, you'll be jumping into missions as part of a 4-player squad. The game lets you choose from 4 different characters, but here's a twist. The characters themselves are mostly cosmetic. The real difference comes from the class you pick. There are 4 classes in total. The Strike class focuses on raw damage and clearing out zombie hordes quickly. The Medic does exactly what you'd expect, keeping teammates alive when things inevitably go wrong. The Operator brings support tools into the fight with a controllable drone that can help the team in different ways. And then there's the Defender, who can deploy defensive barriers when the situation gets a little too, oh no, there are 1,000 zombies running at us. Each class also comes with a pretty deep skill tree with over 30 upgrades. Some improve your abilities directly, while others boost basic stats like reload speed, grenade count, or ammo capacity. It's not the most revolutionary system in gaming history, but it does give you a reason to keep playing and experimenting with different builds. Of course, a zombie game without a big arsenal would feel kind of weird. Toxic Commando delivers a solid selection of weapons, including assault rifles, sniper rifles, shotguns, and SMGs. If you've played shooters before, you'll feel right at home here. Weapons can also be upgraded with attachments, which adds a bit of customization. To unlock and equip those upgrades, you'll need to collect something called sludgeite crystals during missions. Basically, the more you play and explore, the more your weapons improve. It's a progression loop that feels familiar, but it works. And yes, there are also heavy weapons. Things like grenade launchers, railguns, and massive sniper rifles can show up during missions. These are perfect for dealing with large crowds or tougher enemies. The catch? Ammo is limited, and you can't just keep refilling it forever. So when you find one of these weapons, it becomes a save this for the big panic moment situation. Speaking of panic moments, the game really loves throwing those at you. The missions take place in fairly large areas that your squad can explore. Instead of slowly jogging everywhere like tired survivors in a zombie movie, you actually get vehicles to drive around in. Yes, vehicles. And they're not just there for transportation. You can upgrade them with things like grappling hooks, EMPs, and other tools that help deal with the undead. But vehicles also come with their own problems. They need fuel, they can take damage, and zombies will happily climb onto them while you're driving. Sometimes that results in tense escapes. Sometimes it results in turning your truck into a giant rolling Molotov cocktail. Both outcomes are apparently valid gameplay strategies. The enemy variety also adds some spice to the experience. It's not just slow walkers shuffling toward you. There are special zombies that change how you approach fights. For example, skunks release toxic gas that buffs other zombies around them. Nukers are basically walking explosions that rush your team. Stalkers can attack from range with projectiles and make fights a lot more chaotic. So if you thought you could just stand in one spot and hold the trigger forever, the game politely disagrees. Mission objectives also push players into stressful situations. You might be defending a location while waiting for a device to charge, or trying to hold out while something like an elevator slowly arrives. On paper, those objectives sound simple. But when hundreds of zombies show up, things get messy very quickly. And that's where the game's biggest strength starts to show. The swarm system can throw massive waves of zombies at your squad. When that happens, the battlefield becomes pure chaos. You're shooting, running, throwing grenades, fixing vehicles, reviving teammates, and probably screaming internally while doing all of that. It creates this constant push and pull feeling where you're trying to control the fight, but the game keeps pushing back with more threats. Plans rarely survive for very long. You might start a mission with a carefully thought out strategy. 10 minutes later, your team is improvising because half the plan exploded, the vehicle ran out of fuel, and someone accidentally attracted another horde. That unpredictability is actually one of the more interesting parts of the experience. The game seems designed to constantly disrupt your plans and force you to adapt. Sometimes that leads to incredible clutch moments where your team barely survives. Sometimes it leads to total disaster. But honestly, those messy situations are usually the ones players remember the most. Story-wise, the setup is pretty straightforward. You're part of a group of misfits who somehow ended up being humanity's last line of defense against the zombie apocalypse. The infected were once normal people, and now your squad has the unfortunate job of dealing with them. It's not exactly the most groundbreaking narrative ever written, but it works as a backdrop for the action. The real focus here is clearly the gameplay chaos and teamwork. And teamwork is important. While skilled players might be able to handle some situations solo, the game clearly encourages squads to coordinate abilities and support each other. A medic keeping the team alive while a defender blocks a choke point and a strike class clears the horde can make a huge difference. Without coordination, things can spiral out of control very quickly. So, based on the demo, is John Carpenter's toxic Commando worth keeping an eye on? Right now, it looks promising if you enjoy cooperative horde shooters. The class system, weapon customization, vehicles, and giant zombie swarms all combine to create a pretty chaotic experience. That said, the big question will be long-term variety. Horde shooters live and die by their mission design, enemy variety, and replayability. If the full game keeps introducing new surprises and challenges, it could end up being a really fun co-op experience. If not, there's always the risk of it becoming another shoot the same zombies on the same map for the 100th time situation. But at least based on the demo, the chaos looks entertaining, and sometimes that's exactly what a zombie game needs.